All right, welcome back. So let's get to the 49ers. Evidently, they have decided that Trey Lance is ready to go. Tommy, what do you think?
Um, I don't know. Have they decided that Trey Lance is ready to go? I mean, they've been dumping a heap of praise on him that he's everything that they thought he would be and more. And that no, his time that he got to play last season was great. And it helped him out. His time behind the scenes learning was great. And it helped him out. Um, it helped him out so much that with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line, and Jimmy not playing well and being injured to the point where they knew he was going to need surgery in the offseason, they kept him on the bench. So, that being said,
Are
you
they
know,
compensating for something?
yes, exactly. But keep in mind, it's from a strategic standpoint, you can't do anything else as an organization than what you're doing right now. Jimmy's still in the books. He's got to get through the surgery before and do all that before they can do anything, right? So he's there, but he's not there, but he is there, but he's not there. So you have to basically keep yourself in the positive no matter what. Where I don't think organizational wise there's any loss of faith in Trey Lance. It's just whether or not you know this is the day, right? That's going to be the question. And it's really one of those where you don't know what you're going to do with Jimmy just yet. You may keep him on for another year because of the situation where it's almost it's that spot where there's other teams that could make use of Jimmy, right? But coming off of the surgery and all that, what are you going to get for Jimmy? What's that going to take to do? Is a question coming into a situation where Trey Lance would be the heir apparent. You don't know really what's going to happen there because he's got to get into it, get the feel, and if something happens, what do you do? Uh, and in both of those cases, they both add up to essentially Jimmy sticking around for another year because if something happens, well, you know what you have in Jimmy. You've already got that established. You can go in and do it. If nothing happens, well, then so you got Jimmy for another year, and then if you're not able to get much for him now, and you don't need to restructure from a money aspect, well, that'll be the same case next year too, right? You won't be able to get much for him, so it's like the benefit is still there. So I don't know. I look at it, and it's not that. Like I said, the bigger concern I had was with all of the things that were going on with Jimmy throughout the season, the injuries, being hurt. They opted to stay, to stay with Jimmy, and to push to the Super Bowl with Jimmy, with quarterback that, as far as for all intents and purposes, isn't your future. He's hurt. The whole situation, and you have this alternative over here, but you're unwilling to make use of the alternative. Now, that could just be from a strategic standpoint where they're like, look, the risk and the reward aren't balancing out here, right? It's like it's too risky. We'd rather take the loss with Jimmy than risk that. And maybe that's the case, and maybe in the long run, that's the right answer. That's the better thing to do, right? But it just remains to be seen. It's like Trey Lance he's got a skill set, he's got that desire to win. Where he's also got that look that with experience and whatnots, he could look awfully similar to say Russell Wilson, right, and have that ability to make things happen on the field. Um, it's just going to be a matter of like, do you have the rest of the team in a position where they're going to be able to kind of, take on the lion's share of the work and be that foundation until he's really in a spot where he can be the it of the team. We'll see. It's like we kind of figured, I think, when they drafted him, kind of figured, it was like, yeah, Jimmy's going to play for another year. And then that's going to be the big question is where do they go? But nobody at that time really, even though they were like, yeah, the Niners are going to look like they're going to have a good season, nobody really looked at the Niners pushing their way into the NFC Championship. Mid-season, nobody was looking at it. Uh, and then the way in which they did it through the grit, and even with Jimmy, where it was like when he was making his big mistakes, it was spots that, yeah, pretty much everybody knew, like, yeah, you don't put Jimmy in that spot to do that, and it won't happen. You have to, you know, you've got to find your success running the ball and doing all that. And when they didn't, we know what the outcome was, right? So, it's kind of one of those, like, nobody saw that. I think maybe if Jimmy hadn't have gotten hurt, he probably would have been one of the folks that we'd be talking about earlier as far as one of the quarterbacks that gets traded away. But him being able to do all those things and having that success with the team also poses that, like, well, how does the team feel? Because if the team is still sitting here looking at Trey Lance kind of as not necessarily the outsider, but as the tomorrow guy, and they're still looking at Jimmy right as the right now guy, after that type of push to get to the playoffs, that type of push into the playoffs, you basically have a team that's basically saying, well, I'm willing to play for Jimmy. I'm willing to run through a wall for Jimmy. And basically going to him and saying, guys, hey, now is the day. They know it's coming. Nobody on that organization is like, yes, Jimmy's going to be there. Nobody has it. They know it's coming, but whether or not you want today to be the day where that hammer comes down. And right now, because Jimmy's there, Trey Lance is there, they basically have to stay in a spot where they're pseudo non-committal and basically say that, yep, Trey Lance could definitely be our number one guy, come the season. But what about Jimmy? Well, we haven't made any hard decisions on Jimmy, and Jimmy's going through surgery. We'll see how that goes, and he could be our number one guy. And they have to stay in the middle ground until it happens. But the interesting one is getting a clear feel for what Jimmy wants, right? Because man, I mean, if we take Jimmy at his word, Jimmy just wants to play. Where he's just kind of like, if I'm here, I'm going to give you
I just
100% of
want to go
myself, and we're
fast.
going to play. Yeah, I just want to go fast. He could genuinely be that guy where he's like, if I'm here, I'm giving you 100%. If you send me over there, I'm giving them 100%. I like to play football, and it is what it is. The rest of it, I can't control, and I don't intend to. I'm going to play to my absolute best of abilities wherever I am, and that's the other hard part too. You have a GM that's John Lynch, a guy that played football and everything, and he's looking at a guy that's genuinely the "I'm here, so this is where I am" guy, and you're like, the guy took the organization to a Super Bowl, to the NFC Championship, and in reality, in both of those settings, people can get mad at him because he didn't win the game, but he didn't lose the game, right? In both of those settings, what lost the game was a secondary with holes, right? That's what lost the game in both of those instances was a defensive secondary that had holes in it. And so you have that guy that the team's behind that you've had success with. Oh, he's not a jerk. He's a team player. He's just ready to roll. And you're like, it's one of those where you're like, I got two dream guys. The other aspect of it too is if Jimmy has that attitude and Jimmy's coaching Lance, you can get hopefully some of that comes across too, so that when it is Lance's turn, when he comes in, he's now the team guy. It's like, let's do what we need to do for the team. And it's just one of those situations where you really have a good situation whichever way you go, which that's always what makes it hard, right? You think that picking between two evils is difficult. Um, and not that it's easy, but it's a whole lot easier than picking between two good scenarios because you're going to have success in either scenario, but now you're
I
trying to
love both
guess.
of you.
Yeah, you're trying to guess which one's going to take you to the top, and
Yeah.
that's because
You
it's
know,
like choosing between two cars. Which one do I want? Well, once you sign the paper, you got what you got. There ain't no going back. So
yeah. I put a lot of stock too into what you said earlier about how does the team feel, how does Trey, how does Jimmy feel? Because part of how they're talking makes me feel as if they're trying to convince either Trey and or the team that Trey is ready. And so the question becomes, does the team think Trey is ready? Does Trey think Trey is ready? And I understand that he's played football and he's been confident in the situations where he played last year. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's ready to be the guy. And so I think the management team coming out and every chance they get backing up Trey. Oh, he's amazing. He's everything we thought he would be. I think part of that is a psychology, to let Trey and the team know that we're optimistic about this, and you should be too. And let's get our mindsets in the right place. It's not just I don't know, a business play to make sure we're talking great about our guys. There's also some, psychology going on in the background here that I think we're not necessarily privy to.
Yeah, and I think the Niners, as an organization, anyways, have experienced this before because when they jumped from Alex Smith to Kaepernick, back then they were both good, and it was just Kaepernick was more exciting, and he was successful, but the dynamics of the team locker room changed because at almost that spiritual connection level was there for Alex because of everything that he'd went through. And with Kaepernick, a lot of the guys that were there, that you said the legacy players, were kind of in one of those spots where they're like, Kaepernick walked into a positive situation and made the best of it, for certain. But when they look back and they see Alex Smith, it's like, it's one of those where it's like, this is the guy that this is our day one, if you will, right? Like this is the guy that went through all of the rough stuff to get to here. And he stuck with it and fought through it and went through injuries and all that. This is the guy that our hearts are behind. Again, the guy that we'll run through walls for. It's not that we won't play with Kaepernick. We'll play well with him. We'll have success with him. We will have fun. We'll go hang out. We won't have a negative thing to say about him. But Alex Smith is that guy that gave us just that inner edge that made you just want to do just a little bit better, where you could dig deeper a little bit. And that it takes time to develop that, and it's really hard as an organization to be like, well, do we want to walk away from that now? Because you can still win and be very successful without that. It just takes time to build that up, and they have it with Jimmy. So I think that's going to be the bigger hard part. But the truth is, they're going to have to do that at some point. Like it's a sunk cost. It has to happen. So I think if Jimmy is, I think in the next couple months, as Jimmy gets back healthy and he's cleared and all that kind of stuff, I think that's when we'll see the decision. But I would kind of expect to see that if Jimmy's still on the team, I expect to see Jimmy start the season, and at some point in the middle of the season, things are going to change where you see more of Trey and less of Jimmy. If he's not, obviously we'll see Trey, or if we happen to see both of them are on the team, but Trey Lance is starting, somewhere in the first month, they're going to trade Jimmy somewhere.
What are your thoughts, Sam?
I think if Trey Lance was going to be the starter for this coming season, he needed to start right when the Niners lost the game. Right when the Niners lost the game. So right when he hit the locker room, Coach Shanahan should have just pulled him aside and say, listen, for the whole off season, you're going to live at my house. We're going to have this training here, okay? We're going to go through all these plays, and you're not going anywhere. You're not going to be communicating with friends, family, or anything. You can communicate. Well, no, I'm
Gonna be
sorry.
my prisoner.
You
Going
can.
forward.
You're not you can have an hour at a time with family and friends, but that's it. You're
Yeah,
just gonna
you
concentrate
can't
on
Like
you
the
can't
football.
worst.
communicate with family and friends. I don't. What's the so what? I forgot here. Somebody remind me. What's the ethnic background of Trey Lance?
What is Trey I'm sorry, what is Trey Lance?
I don't know. That's why I was asking you. You're supposed to be the one that
I
pays
didn't look
attention
at
to
that.
stuff, Sam.
I was let me finish where I was going into,
No,
but if I
but I
think
was just saying that he has this darker skin tone. It's weird. It's almost familiar. And the thing is like, yeah, you can't talk with family and friends.
well
Uh-huh.
no, I said
So Sam, no, I want to paint a scenario. So let's
Paint the
say years
scenario.
ago, you're coming out of college, you had this great basketball career, NBA's picking you up, and they're like, now it's time for you to be the man. So you're gonna be at my house, you're only talking to family, friends, yada yada yada. Exactly how long do you think it takes before your mom comes propelling down the ceiling with those black outfits on, like Mission Impossible, and like goes
Okay.
through and starts tearing people up, man.
Okay.
She'll go straight John Wick on the whole house, man.
Okay. So what I was
He was at his
talking.
best. Pow, and it's like that's it. That's gonna work out well. That's gonna work
Okay,
out
so
well.
I was being a little bit extreme and sarcastic about the whole thing, but what I was trying to say is that Trey Lance, him and Shanahan this offseason need to be together every day, going over what Shanahan want him to do so that he can be a starter. Because the times that he went out on the field, it showed that he was not ready at all.
Well, and think about I mean, I know they're not huge changes per se, but the Niners have had. Well, man, they're big enough. Niners have had a decent amount of coaching changes, this season as well, right? Where it's like they're not. I mean, Shanahan stand, right? But his assistants and all that, things are coming back. It's going to look different, and that could very well be play in.
You cut off. Tommy?
Yeah. We're not hearing you.
Tommy, we're not hearing you. Tommy, you're on mute.
Maybe not mute. Maybe your headset is dead.
Hello, Tommy? Tommy?
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep, I'm still here.
Good.
I gotta figure all this out at some point, but yeah, but it's it'll be interesting. Let's just put it that way.
Well, we didn't hear what you said because you went out.
Oh, you did. You missed it. I missed that. So it's basically this: with the coaching and the staff changes that are coming with the 49ers organization. Jimmy's experience is going to allow him to adjust to that really, really fast. Now it's not a huge change, right? So what?
I'm just kidding.
So she's fired. She's fired. Out of
Okay,
a
it's not
cannon.
a.
Out of a
It's not.
cannon. Pointed at the sun and lighted on fire. Fire.
It's not a huge change, but what?
No, it's not a huge change, but it's still a change. Then when you have the when you have that change in the organization at the coaching level, at least it's not a head coaching change, but it's still going to be those nuances between different skill coaches, different coordinators. Jimmy's going to respond to that much better than Trey Lance is. So you could even see a spot where, I mean, you take that into consideration. Now we're back to you keep both of them. Jimmy's there. Jimmy helps Lance adjust to the new guy, and then they hand the reins over. So
I think too, though, having coaching staff changes makes the change more equitable for everyone. It's not just Trey Lance that's learning a bunch of stuff. The whole team has to learn it. And so the fact that they're going to be forced to all learn that together, I think will actually help Trey Lance get in there and dig his heels in.
yeah, that is true. Because he won't be behind he won't be as far behind the eight ball. He'll be much caught up just by the fact that not everybody's gonna know everything. But remember, like I mean, this is an exaggeration, but the Niners traded and got Jimmy, Tuesday at 12:15, and Jimmy was a starter and ready to go Thursday morning, right?
Right.
And knew enough to completely change the 49ers season that year. Like completely. It was like, oh, now we're irrelevant. So Jimmy's a fast learner. We'll see the rest.
Okay, and let me just say, I was joking about Trey Lance not talking to family and friends. I'm just saying, all I'm saying is that he just needs to
Sam is not advocating
concentrate
for an abusive
Sam's
relationship.
over there worried that his
Concentrate on
mom's gonna watch
football.
this. Auntie's gonna watch it. She's gonna be like, no family, huh? Okay,
No,
okay.
I have a question. No, Tommy, I have a question for you. And Adriana, because you guys are both fans of the 49ers. Are we having this conversation if Jimmy had hit Emmanuel Sanders in the Super Bowl?
A couple years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we having the same? Are we having the same conversation as far as getting rid of Jimmy?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this, you know, regardless of how well we played or didn't play this season, like I'm Jimmy is not the one for me. He never has been. And I understand he's not the worst quarterback. He's in the NFL. He's one of the best quarterbacks there are, right? But he's never really quite clicked for me.
Now, Jimmy,
Okay,
the thing with
because
the thing with Jimmy is even in the Super Bowl, right? It's like if he hits Sanders, they score. Defense still has to come out and do their job, and that was the struggle. The whole reason why they got there where they needed that play was because the defense was faltered towards the end of the game, right?
Mhm.
It's always been the case that yes, Jimmy was light years beyond before they had Jimmy, right? This was just a much better situation. Put the team in those spots, but you have to be able to run the ball. You've got to be able to. The rest of the team has to be around him. You can do that, then he's got you. But he's was not going to be the Tom Brady put the team on my back and go win, guy. That just it wasn't there. And with the injury aspects of it, where every other season he's out, that plays in there too, right? Where it's kind of one of those like you look at that and the longevity and those factors come in. And I think that because of that, because he's not the necessarily put the team on my back guy, maybe they don't trade as far up to get like a Trey Lance, but they definitely go out and get somebody that they know that, hey, we can spend a couple years, tooling this person up so that they can get in there. But I mean, let's just put it this way. If he hits the pass and they win that Super Bowl, right? And they don't lose to the Rams and they beat Cincinnati, then no, we're not having a conversation. Even if the Niners had traded the year before to get Trey Lance, the two Super Bowl wins, because even let's say the Niners won the Super Bowl this season, we'd still be having this conversation about Lance. But if you add the both of them in there, the conversation will be more in the sense of we be having a conversation of how much of the not the trick plays, but the special Trey Lance plays, the running plays and things like that. How much more did they use that next season? That would be the conversation because Jimmy would be the hands down number one, but we know that we'd start seeing more of Lance getting worked into the games. And as long as Jimmy kept winning, at least for say 2-3 years, that would be the situation. Once you get past the second year, the year 3, year 4, Lance is still there. They're still doing that with or without success. They're kind of looking at the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers type situation. But yeah, that's those two. Like Jimmy could play like he does, and you change just a few things where now they win. They win that Super Bowl and they make it to this one and win that one. Then they have no choice. They have to stick with him.
All right, well, let's take a break from football. I know we got a couple of things to talk about with basketball, which we will do when we come back. But before we leave, don't forget to click, like, and subscribe.
We got a basketball, Jones.